I've been doing that reading strategy for a while now, and I actually really love it. I think it's so fun, and it's really accessible. I figured I would share it with you because it's fun to just discover new things or read about new subjects. It is also really good if you're trying to build or rebuild a habit of reading, or if you struggle to read. Maybe you don't read much, or reading is a bit of a weakness. You might have some kind of disability, and reading can be a little bit more of a challenge. Or if you're reading in a new language, very good strategy as well. I am going to try that actually. I need to find the right type of book in my new language, but I will. So what I do is I pick a book that has a format that is easy to divide into short sections, like this one. For this one section could either be one spread, right? Each two-page is a two-page spread about one subtopic. In this case, it's about the Lascaux cave paintings. But each spread is, say, about the drawings or some patterns, how people worked on those, or what we know, or what we think we know anyway. Anyway, each spread is about one subtopic, if you will. So it could be a two-page spread, or if you need something shorter, for example, if I read something in a new language, I'm very much a beginner, for me it would be German, I would only do one paragraph because it has subtitles in each of those spreads as well. So one tiny thing like this, I think it's enough for me in German right now. And I only read one of the sections per day. If you want to read more after that, you can have another book like a novel or a non-fiction of your choice that you read more pages all at once. But for that book that you choose, for that strategy, you only read one of your sections each day. You can skip some days, but it's best to try and push yourself to do it every day or on specific days of the week if some days it's really not possible for you. I know that for me, my Sundays are extremely busy. I'm not gonna pick up my book on Sunday morning. And I recommend you leave it somewhere that you know you will sit down, maybe when you get up or when you come from work or from school. Leave it where you will be when you have time to read a little bit and push yourself to pick it up. It's very easy to push yourself to do that tiny little bit of reading if you don't have the habit yet. It's a good way to start a reading session as well if you're going to read something a little bit more demanding after that. It's a good start. Starting to read something like I have a reading night on my desk right now. Getting myself to start reading this book. I love it, but it's so hard to read. Getting myself to start is so hard. If I have a one-pager that I open routinely before, it gets me started a bit more and it helps. But as I said, if that's the only reading you'll be doing, it can be. Maybe that's what you need. And there's so many types of books that you can do this with at different levels. For me, I really love picking books like this one that has a lot of images and helps me read about new things, discover something new. That's another example. It's going to take a long time to read that strategy, but that's okay. Your book might take you months or even years to read. That is all right. I would recommend you stop to think about what it's going to be like. If you don't have a big reading habit, maybe pick something slimmer, or if it's in a new language. But if you read a lot and you're okay with it spreading over a long time, it can be something like this. Lots of images, but lots of pages also, and you have information about all kinds of creatures that live in the ocean, lots of beautiful pictures. And because you're only doing one section, for this one I guess it would be one page per day, it gives you time to process that new information. And that day you discovered that one thing, and you had time to look at the images and slow down. Or it could be poetry. Poetry is usually one page, right? Or more or less one page, short poems. You read one poem, but you give yourself the time to process and to appreciate what you're reading so you can enjoy it more. It's a good way to bring something new into your life for a while. If I were to pick this for a while, discovering things about the ocean would be part of my life. Of course, you pick something you're interested in, otherwise, it kind of defeats the point. But it allows me to just create a little space for that thing that I'm interested in without needing it to be a deep dive or a big study. But I get to discover and to create a connection to that new topic and relate it to other things in my life, maybe things that are a bit more serious for me, like my job or literature that I read after that. Sometimes it will connect and it's not planned, and it's really cool when that happens. Or it can be a way for you to learn a new skill. For example, the For Dummies collection, they have very short sections. So if there's something that is important for you to learn, or you're wanting to learn it, but you don't find you have a lot of time for it, they have very, very short sections. So you could say, maybe I read one tiny, tiny section or one subtitle per day. Gives yourself time to, it gives you time to process it, remember it, instead of shoving a bunch of information in your head all at once. And if it's something applicable, it gives you time to start applying it during the day and the following day, and just kind of things together slowly. You're not going to get through that book quickly. So if you want to read more, have two books at the same time. That's totally fine. It's good also if you want to read something more difficult. I used that same strategy for this book. Those are excerpts in philosophy. Very, very difficult. When I read it, at least, I don't know how I would feel about it now, but when I read it the first time, something like 2 years ago, it was extremely difficult. I know I did not understand everything. But each section is about 1 page or 1 page and a half, so it is in a very bad state. It's very old. It's falling apart, but you see this up here, this is one section. If the book is difficult, this is plenty. I was spending a lot of time on that tiny, tiny section, and then I would allow myself to spend the day with it still a little bit on my mind, maybe review my highlights during the evening, maybe if I read the next section the next day. And that actually changed a lot for me. I learned a lot, and I know that it influenced my way of working and probably my career path, actually. It definitely did influence me quite a bit. I think I should reread it eventually, though, because I am sure I did not get everything there is to get from this, but I got a lot while it was very difficult for me. But I would only read one section per day, giving me enough time to read it slowly, process it, allow myself to understand it, go back if I need to before I move on to the next subtitle, section, excerpt, whatever you want to call it. I guess those are excerpts, so they were not even all from the same author. Best not to mix them up all in one day if you're having trouble with it. There's tons of books that are fun, family friendly also if you want to do it with your kids. That can work, or in the classroom or whatever. You can even find some about math. And they tend to be fun even as an adult, especially as a light read. They're just fun. There's that series of books, I think they exist in English as well. It's Subject in 30 Seconds. So each page is a short presentation of a topic with some visuals usually. Very good format for a lot of books that are not quite textbooks, but books of instruction, I should say, like this one. If you're into arts, you probably know. very good format for this kind of reading as well, because each page is one new topic. See, subtitle, you have a new title every page. That's the kind of division you want. So this one, it gives you a chance to learn something new every day. Now I say every day, as I said, you can eliminate some days that you know you don't have time to read, or you could slow down even more if the book has sections that are a little bit too heavy for you, or if you want to say, okay, well, it's about learning a skill. I want to give myself time to apply it. Maybe you read one section, the next day you apply it, one section, apply it for 1 or 2 days, something like that. Now, look at your book, ask yourself what you want from that book. Is it just for fun? Is it just to learn something new? And plan accordingly. If you are new to this and you're not used to reading something that takes a long time to read, I would say pick something a little bit slimmer. One of those, maybe. You can find a lot of collections like this. Tons and tons of subjects. Maybe this one, see, this is I think the entire collection, more or less, and that is represented at the back. So many books, and that's just one type. If you get one of those, it will still take you a couple of weeks to get through it if you read one spread per day. Let's count. Back from counting, there's 11 two-page spreads. So if you read one per day, it would take you a little under 2 weeks, probably a couple, like 2-3 months if you were to read one subtitle per day. Very doable. It's not too heavy mentally to tell yourself like, oh, I'm not gonna be done with this for like 2 weeks. That's reasonable, right? If you're a little bit more comfortable with your reading spreading over a long time, it is worth it because, as I said, it becomes part of your life for a long time. And it's really fun to have this subject that you're really passionate about or really curious about. Just becomes a tiny little routine in your life for a long time. So if you feel up to it, something bigger like this would take you a little under a year to get through if you read a 2-page spread per day, which is the format for this as well. It doesn't have a lot of text. It has a lot of cool images to look at, and there's something new to learn on every spread. So within a year, you could get through that whole big, thick thing without sacrificing other reads that you might want to do, like novels or non-fictions, like books that you just read continuously, if that's what you want to do. But again, it can be your only reading if that's all you want to do. It's your life, you do what you want. Unless you have school and you have mandatory reading, which I do not have this year, that's nice. There are so many possibilities, really. Just pick something that attracts you. I really recommend it more for a fun reading, but you do you. If you want to do something more about learning a new skill, you can. I think the big advantage of this reading method is to bring something fun into your life for it to be part of your routine for a while, but as I said, it can be a good strategy for learning a new skill as well. And the book doesn't have to be necessarily divided in a way that makes it perfectly practical. I did it with this book, and what I did is I used the subtitles. So I would start at one subtitle until the next. Usually it would be about a page. Sometimes it was longer, sometimes it was two pages. I think once or twice I ended up having to read 7 pages, and if I didn't have the time, that's okay. I stopped midway and continued the section on the next day. That's totally fine. Just do it in however way works for you, really. If you do give it a try, let me know. I am really interested in knowing if other people like the idea and if you do, let me know what you picked, what kind of books you want to use that strategy with, and have fun. That's the point, really. It's just to have fun.